Hi, I'm Gabe.
And I'm Kat.
And we're the Ghouls Next Door. Talking about that spooky stuff.
Yeah, you know.
And this month we're talking about horror directors.
Yeah.
People who are making the horror stuff.
They're out here being like, oh, look at that angle. Let's shoot this film.
Yep, that's
Boop-a-doop.
that's how directors' minds work.
Yep.
They just see angles.
I know, because I'm one of those.
Yeah,
No, I'm not.
No, that would be
Gabe
me.
is, I'm not.
I am the director.
The directress.
The directress. That's what I prefer to be called when I'm on set. But we're not going to talk about me today.
Why not?
We're going to talk about a different lady filmmaker.
But I want to talk about you.
That's for another day.
Okay.
After I make a few indie films.
One day.
Then I'll be the episode topic for somebody else.
Hi, I'm Gabe.
No. But this week we're talking about another director that you may or may not have heard of.
Yeah.
But she is someone to watch. She made some things that we watched.
We did. That's usually what happens.
Yeah. I enjoyed it. And I think she's something to talk about. She gives us something to talk about. So we're talking about Lily Amirpour.
Yeah.
We had mentioned her previously on actually a few different episodes, just mentioning her.
Yeah.
About a girl walks home alone at night.
Mm-hmm.
And how excited I was to watch it. And that, she's out here.
Yeah. And I mean, I would say that film specifically lived up to my hype about it. I don't know if it lived up to your hype about it. It's pretty cool.
Decent. Yeah. I think it was what I thought it was going to be.
Cool.
So we're going to talk about that film. We're also going to talk about The Bad Batch. And we're going to talk about her. We're going to give you some information about who she is, what she does, and just have some discourse.
Yeah.
Conversations. So get ready. Have a seat. Get some popcorn.
Get facts. We tell you facts. All the facts. Hear facts. Still facts. About that spooky stuff. Yeah, spooky stuff.
So, if you have your popcorn,
Yeah,
because that was prefaced as a requirement.
You had a whole interlude of us saying facts.
A bunch of weird ways.
For you to go get your popcorn. So.
Yeah, we're talking about Lily Amirpour. Is that how you say it?
I think so.
I always thought it was Amirpour, but that's not including the R. So how you said it makes more sense. Amirpour. We're talking about her. She was born in England to two Iranian parents and grew up mostly in the U.S.
She had two parents?
Yeah, sometimes that happens.
Yeah.
There's like one person and they meet another person. And they're like, babies. And then babies are born. And then you're like, what? I guess we'll stay together. And it just keeps going from there.
I don't know. Maybe her parents loved each other.
I'm going to be great at the birds and the bees talk when it's my time.
Your kids are going to get it.
I'm going to be like, stuff happens.
Well, tell me what happened when Anna Lily's parents got together.
Yeah, so they were Iranian. And they lived in England and apparently did not like it and came to the U.S. and specifically moved out around a bunch, but lived in California for most of her childhood. So it seemed like she was really heavily influenced both by her Iranian side as well as her life in the U.S. and kind of shaped her to be who she is. So I got a lot of information specifically from Lindsay Decker at Cutthroat Women for it was basically a little biography because I guess when you're not Stephen King or one of the writers that we have, you don't have a website, you know what I mean? So Anna I could not find it at least. I looked for one. There was not a website. So I had to scour the interwebs being like, all right, we're hoping this is factual about this lady's life. Thanks. The quote that I got from that article is basically describing who she is and this idea of hybridity and that she's a combination of a bunch of different stuff. So the quote goes, hybridity is a key to seemingly everything and Anna's career, from the way that she mixes genres to the way that drug use serves to blur the boundaries of reality in her feature films. So I think we see that a lot in The Bad Batch with like the LSD times. And then you also see that in A Girl Walks Home at Night, when the Dracula dude
he took drugs
and is like, I'm going to stare at lamps for a while.
like a moth.
Yeah, it's the whole thing. But yeah, you definitely get this like sense of blurring reality, and like kind of like there's a lot of it seems like subtle conversation around like the lines of society, who you are, who you're supposed to be, all this other stuff. Like it seems like there's like a blur of lines and like combination of a bunch of different stuff that you see in her work. And it you know, it's pretty true that like, because it seems like she doesn't want to be boxed into one category. She doesn't want to just be like, I'm just horror, or I'm just going to make a film that fits this. Yeah. She made her whole own genre.
Yeah.
Of Iranian spaghetti westerns.
Iranian Vampire Spaghetti Western.
Which is just something that didn't exist before.
No.
So, yeah, she's just taking all the genres, mixing them together, and doing her own thing.
Yeah.
And I guess it definitely like ties into the fact that she's been in this kind of like intersection between two very, I don't know if they're very different, but I would argue probably pretty different cultures.
Enough.
Yeah, different enough that like that has been a part of like how she's identified herself and being like a combination of these two very different things, and how to balance that, and what is the lines that are drawn within that kind of thing. And I just thought it was kind of cool because I always think of, you know, not drug induced, but like my own adventures through the blur lines of what is real and what isn't, and what is right and what is wrong, and how it's not always like objective.
Yeah.
Or subjective. What's the definition of those words?
That's not what we're here for.
That's not what we're here? Okay. But yeah, it was just like really cool that it seemed like she's actively questioning that throughout. Like you saw in The Bad Batch that like all of the characters are really flawed.
Yeah.
And that like there's no real good guy. Mm-hmm. And even in A Girl Walks Home at Night, there isn't any real clear distinct. Like everyone has like a lot of messed up stuff going on. Yeah. And it's like, what's right? What's wrong? What's real? What's fake? It's like it kind of shows like there's no real designation of that. And I feel like that's really true about life. Is like we always try to be like, that's the right thing.
Yeah.
That's the wrong thing. And it's like nothing is black and white except for the film.
Which is shot
in that it's literally shot in black and white. But like life does not operate under that scope.
Yeah.
Generally there are a lot of like exceptions to the rules and blurred lines within that. We're not talking about Robin Thicke though.
No.
Because
we want
to. But there's another article written by Colleen Aftab in the Independent, which is a European documentation website.
Okay.
I think it's like a news website. That's what I got from it. And he wrote an article basically like talking about like where she's from and like how she has some good quotes from her. Mm-hmm. So she grew up in Bakersfield, California. And while she was there, she states, it was where I had my first period. I think where you go through puberty is where you have to say you grew up. Mm. Which, I mean, I didn't know was a thing, but it's like a fun quote.
It is a fun quote. This is so her. I disagree just for like, because some people aren't in one place and that's not really, I get like, it's like where you're literally growing up, you're transforming, right? Mm-hmm. But that doesn't really define you. But what I found really interesting about this quote, and kind of like her kind of mixing of like these two worlds that she's living in, being Iranian and American, is my mentor, because I do film and media, but my mentor, who's like been my go-to person and always there, is actually also an Iranian-American filmmaker. Yeah. And on her website, she says that she learned to speak in Iran, but she learned how to press record in America. Yeah. And it kind of struck me when I saw that I was like, oh my gosh, it's kind of like a similar kind of thing. Like you take that with you, like that's a part of you. Like she grew up where, you know, like English was not the language spoken in her house. Yeah. But then she's like, you know, going out and establishing herself in America.
Yeah.
So I just thought that was cool.
That is cool.
Yeah.
Oh, Gabe. Gabe with cool
putting
things.
stuff in there.
Yeah, and it's, I mean, I just feel like all of that stuff sticks with you in one way
Yeah.
or another. I was, I guess, in some, I don't know, I didn't like living in one place for my whole life. Because then you just gotta sit in everything that you didn't like about whatever happened before.
Yeah.
But I could see the negatives of traveling a lot too.
Mm-hmm.
In that, like, it's hard to get your footing, you know, it's just unstable in some ways, but I don't know where I was going with that.
Yeah.
Hello.
Well, we all have different experiences.
Yeah.
And I would say where you go through puberty is a fundamental part of you because
Yes.
everything is changing.
Here we are.
So that I would say that, yes. It is a part of where you grow up. Yeah.
Yeah. And she also talks about how her Iranian heritage was like somewhat overwhelming of a presence in her life, and that like she was trying to, I guess, Americanize herself, and she just like couldn't escape who she like was in that regard. And that she just really doesn't like being boxed in or like labeled, which I think you can kind of see in a lot of her stuff.
Yeah.
And she says, yeah, it's a mashup, but it most becomes really liberating because as a kid growing up, I wanted to be American, like my white American friends, but I am Iranian and my culture is very fixed and strong, and it's been an overwhelming presence in my life. How do you explain that part of who you are when it's like not what you're, I guess, like nothing about us without us kind of mentality? But I don't know if we see that in her work.
No, she distinctly tries to not be political in her work. She's been quoted as kind of, you know, because so a girl who walks home alone at night, we have a woman, and it's not set in Iran. It's set in Bad City, which is like her spin on like a Gotham like town.
Yeah, I think it was shot
California.
actually in California.
Yeah, it's in California. But we do have like an Iranian actress, right? And she is in a hijab, so it's like on top of that, like she has it in there. It's there.
Yeah.
And what is really strong about it is it's not really discussed.
Yeah.
Like no one ever brings it up. I will say in like my looking into her, like all her films and stuff, and looking into her, she said that she got the idea because someone had it and she went to like put it on, and she said it looked like a bat when she put on the hijab. So she was just like, oh, what if we made like a film off of this feeling that I just got from doing this one thing? Like she thought bat, vampire, spaghetti vampire Western thing.
Yep.
Which is like that in itself is pretty impressive for you to have such a wild idea and to bring it to fruition this way
about it. Yeah.
And then so deliberately and made it something so particular. But something
it started as a short film, right? And then it
and she even has a graphic novel that accompanies it.
Oh, cool.
So I kind of like what you had mentioned a little bit before is that she is very intentional about characters. She has a lot of similar themes, and a big one that I've seen as a trend in her work is like loneliness and being by yourself.
Yeah.
And there's this need, and like there's this like this part of like the human in you that seeks like, you know, companionship to some degree, that sometimes you find it in the most unlikeliest of places or in like the most unlikeliest of people, right?
Yeah.
Like we're more inclined to have compassion when you're like stuck alongside someone, and you kind of get things into the perspective. And I feel like she does try to write really big ideas, but she does so in a very broad way. Like, I feel like it kind of gets desaturated by all of the pomp and circumstance that we're seeing on screen.
Yeah.
There's just a lot of like art that's happening. And I feel like she's kind of juggling a bunch of different like influences that she's trying to satisfy all at once. Even like when you get like Iranian Vampire Spaghetti Western, that's a lot. she achieved it. But those are so many different things that it's, you know, you're a jack of all trades, but you're a master of none type thing, you know? So I feel like that kind of comes across in some of her films. But to kind of dive into her, right? First, I wanted to say that I thought it was really fun to cover her because I wanted to say, like, we're out here, Mr. Blumhouse. Us ladies want to make horror, and we do. So we're out here. Check your inbox.
Don't tell me we're not.
Don't say it. But Anna Lily is a powerhouse, and she is someone that should be watched because, you know, and she, in most recent times, because the two films that we watch are from 2014 and 2016, but she did direct one of the new episodes of The Twilight Zone that Jordan Peele is producing. Yeah. The new Twilight Zone isn't the best. There's parts of it that are really cool, but she did direct it, and it does have the episode did have a lot of her kind of like signature shadows and silhouettes.
And it was like depth. About outsiders and stuff like that.
Yeah.
In the sense
I'm kind of going to be like jumping all over the place because that's kind of how I felt when I was like watching it, was like my mind was in so many different places and pockets as like a filmmaker. But there was this quote that I saw by this really honest and great article by Fariha Zaman from Film Comment. And so it was this review of The Bad Batch, which is what we watched. And she dubs The Bad Batch, she says, "This is the Spring Breakers of dystopian cinema." Okay. And I was like, 100%, I get it. So for people who are not like, so if someone hasn't watched this movie and you've seen Spring Breakers, then you get 100% an idea of what this is. Like you immediately see it. I haven't
seen Spring Breakers.
Spring Breakers is an arguably not great film. Most people hate it or think that it's just not, that it was trying too hard, which it was for sure. But it features like Selena Gomez is in there. It has yeah.
Okay, I'm following.
You probably have seen it on
maybe I
Netflix.
have seen it.
Not seen it, but you've probably seen the.
Is that the one with what's his name? Franco? Mm-hmm. My roommate in college watched that. Yeah. And I didn't watch it. But I remember her watching it. So, yes.
Yes. Well, it's so you have like if you've seen it, it's like the hot girls, they're in bikinis and they have the ski masks on. Yes. And then you have James Franco in like the worst role he's ever played. Yes. And he's literally made a movie that like threatened a dictator. So like on the spectrum of like bad movies, this is at the bottom for him. But like if you neglect him and you did look at it. So I'm one of the few people who actually enjoyed Spring Breakers. I'm one of those people who are weird about it because there's parts of Spring Breakers that I really enjoyed as a cinematographer. There's a long shot that is like top 3 of my favorite long shots I've ever seen in a film, which is a lot because those are my favorite. There's this theme where throughout the film, the world is desaturated, but their clothing is hyper saturated. Okay. So like oversaturated. So it's like to show like how deep and twisted they are becoming in the narrative, like as the story progresses. Okay. So there's little things that like, it's very show-offy. And it's not great. It's not great storytelling. But there are little things as someone who loves the use of color and like the use of like characters and making people very raw. That I really appreciated it. And so with The Bad Batch, that's something that I also enjoyed was like the aesthetic is very distinct. Uh-huh. It's very like purposeful. Right? Yeah. And she does that like. I was saying, like, when we were watching, I was like, okay, we went from watching a movie that's all black and white to a movie that is in the desert and it's, like, shining bright and it's full of color. Like, our main character, the first time we see her, she's in bright shorts that have the flag on them, right? And I believe at one point...
There's a flag puzzle. I think that's what you're thinking of. She's wearing colorful shorts.
She was wearing colorful shorts, and then later she's wearing shorts that have like a happy face on them.
A winky happy face.
Winky happy face, and they're yellow, which I was like, I really want those shorts. But we have like, everything is very specific. Like
Yeah.
she's picks things on purpose. And on top of that, she also really enjoys music. So the music was really fun.
And you noticed that in both films. Yeah. The music was intentional.
Yeah, I feel like there's like she has a lot of influences for things. Like she said she loves James Dean, and that's why Arash in A Girl Walks Home Alone at Night is very much dressed like he would be like an Iranian James Dean. And the music selection was on purpose, like in the film, that made her like the cool hipster. And the same thing, like The Bad Batch is just a hipster film. Like it's just like if you found a hipster's like records like crate, this is what's in there.
Yeah.
So and I was like, that's fun. And it's her, like she's just like, these are things I like, I put them in here.
Yeah.
And for that I'm just like, to have like a way to do that where it's not sloppy and you can still have fun and you can just do something that you're enjoying. Like she gets all the rep for that.
Yeah.
For definitely. She puts a little bit of herself in everything, right? She's been quoted as saying her mantra is that film is like a mirror to yourself, and what you see in a movie is a reflection of yourself. Yeah. Which I've talked a million times about, like being represented and seeing yourself on screen. And what better way to do that than to make the films yourself, right? Yeah. Specifically of vampires, because we know monsters don't just mean monsters, they mean something more. Right. And something that got me really excited about Girl Walks Home Alone at Night was that we had this young girl who is Iranian, wearing hijab, riding a skateboard, taking out the bad guys in Bad City. Yeah. And like, she's still kind of charming too. Yeah. And is also flawed, and is like, she, encounters Arash and she thinks he's like, you can tell she just immediately is like, what is this guy?
What is this puppy dog man?
Yeah, like she's mean to like a little boy. Like she clearly doesn't trust anyone. We don't know why she is what she is. If there's any others, like that's not even a part of it. There's very little dialogue. And
I mean, if someone stranger walked up to me and grabbed my hand and be like, "You're cold," and then was like, and then hugged me afterwards, I'd be like, "You are a puppy person. What is this?"
I would freak out.
High as a kite. What is this?
Yeah, and yeah, she's gone on record saying that this is a love story. It's not super like a horror. Like there's horror elements, right?
Yeah. Murder.
Yeah, it's very long. All her movies are really long. I feel like she has a hard time cutting things. And that can really take away from you gotta know what can't make it. The 2 hours, hun. It's a long time for a film that it's kind of inexcusable, like especially in A Bad Batch that's 2 hours, and that there's just a lot of scenes of just like the desert or her like walking that didn't have to be there.
Or scenes that people got really upset about that could have been taken out.
Or like just thought about a little longer. Yeah. So on that note, Anna Lily, her film The Bad Batch was accused of being racist. Like her film. And then by extension herself. Yeah. Because there are two black characters that we see and they both die. And during one of the screenings, a woman stood up and responded and essentially like said to Anna Lily, she said, "I found it offensive, so I'm curious, what was your message for it?" Which is like reasonable. Like this woman stands up, she's vulnerable, she's surrounded by people who probably enjoy Anna Lily, and is saying, well, I caught on to this because I'm a member of that community, so what is the point? Why is that there? And the problem with this isn't that she made a film where two black characters die. The problem is her response to someone remarking on it. Yeah. And so Anna Lily responded in this incredibly dismissive and uncaring way. And that she said, just because I give you something to look at doesn't mean I'm telling you what to see. Which is essentially one of those shrugged off, like, I'm sorry you feel that way. Answer, which is the wrong answer. Yes. Just for the record, so everyone knows. When someone tells you this offends or hurts me, that is not, you do not get to tell them that they're wrong. like,
Yeah.
you know,
So that adds up.
right? Checks out. And a part of that was also that Anna Lily is a brown woman. And she is an immigrant. And so because of this, she has this idea that she's now exempt from that, which is not the case.
That's not true.
Is incredibly not the case. And we kind of see that, like we see how she puts pieces of her experience throughout her films, right? So we have characters that look like her because she wants to do that. Even with the, I guess, kind of anti-hero of Bad Batch is the character of Miami Man, who is a Cuban immigrant, but is played by Hawaiian Jason Momoa. So already a problem for me.
Yeah.
With his accent, that's not his.
Yes.
And she just picked a different brown person to
I was
play
just
a
like,
different
you're Cuban
race.
now.
Yeah. So I'm like, like, that's not like... You really weren't thinking was kind of the thing, right? And so we have this character who is arguably a villain in a way, right? Like, but his real crime, besides like the fact that he eats and murders people now in Bad Place, is that the reason he's there is because he was in America illegally.
Yeah.
So he really was like just a normal person.
Yeah, like
and like the world
nice,
changed him, right?
normal person.
And so he ends up living at the end. And so I was like, well, that's nice. At least we get our, in quotations, Latinx character to live, and his mixed race daughter. And that's something that Anna Lily, like, you know, prided herself on too, was she was like, of course, like, why wouldn't his wife be black? Like, why wouldn't they have a mixed race child? This is the future. It's dystopian. Like, so it exists in the future, and that's what a normal family looks like.
Yeah.
Like, if we're ignoring cannibalism for a minute.
Yeah.
But the problem here is something that just exists in society right now, and I think where she really dropped the ball. And it's that she gave this very Gina Rodriguez-esque response. So Gina Rodriguez, to go on another tangent just a little bit, is the actress from Jane the Virgin, who has been called out many a times for diminishing the struggles and the trauma that Black people have gone through by saying that, like, Latinx people, because we also have our own struggles, like, it's either the same or worse. And like dismissing that, like, the Black people have their own experiences and they're bad. Like, she just thinks she's exempt because she's also brown. Right?
Okay. Yes, I'm following.
Right? So when she responds that way, it's doing is it is essentially not, she is ignoring the fact that she comes from a place of privilege because she is a brown woman. Right? Like, because we do not have the same experiences. We do not suffer from the same, like, racism in any way. And so her place of privilege allowed her to make an entire film where she didn't even think, hey, I have 2 Black people in my film. They both die. Neither one of them are very good either. They're not full characters. They are just cannon fodder. And I'm repeating the same tropes that Black people have had to see play out on screen for forever. Like, she never even thought to think that because she doesn't have that in her life.
Yeah.
So it only heightens the fact that she is that privileged. So,
and, like, prejudice still exists. Like, even if you are brown, like, you can still be prejudiced against other people.
Yeah, for sure. And especially because it's like, you know, that's not like, that's like a throwaway answer. It's the same thing as someone saying, I don't see race. Like, that doesn't solve the problem. That does not acknowledge that this is a mistake, right?
Yeah.
It's not saying that she shouldn't have Jason Momoa's character, who should have been played by a Latinx person, but to have him marry a Black woman. Fine. Yeah, of course. This is the future. And also, it's the present. It's whatever it is. Anyone can do what they want, right? But her not being like, oops, like, wow, I wasn't thinking. Because really she was just colorblind casting, and she was just not singing color when she did this, which she thought was like a bonus. Like, she thought that was good that she doesn't see color. Yeah, no. But that's incorrect. Because we're just going to keep doing the same stuff if we do not take notice of these tropes and these stigmas and do our part to erase them. You have to
Yeah.
be purposeful. And you can only do that if you're actually like acknowledging that exists.
And it just takes away from like the purposefulness of everything else that she was
Yeah.
doing. Like she was being very purposeful with the music and the color and the like storytelling, but then totally dismiss that for everything else that
Yeah.
actually impacts society
Yeah.
emotionally.
And it's like, you know, there are things that I thought were really great about her, and I still do, right?
Yeah.
I love her influence for some things. Like, so she said she watched the making of Michael Jackson's The Thriller video thousands of times, and it taught her how to be American,
That's really cute.
which is really cute, right?
Yeah.
And so when you see those little things throughout like the film, or you see like kind of those influences, you really see her. It's very much her. So if someone says, you know, I can understand why she felt attacked and why she lashed out, or like why she got defensive and why she like, you know, blocked the woman on Twitter and like went try to hide away and try to cover it up with I'm a brown person, because these films are very much her.
Yeah.
And so to critique them or to point out something, it does make you feel like you're being attacked.
Yeah.
But the thing is that you're not. It's that you should look and go, wow, you know what? You're right. I have lived my life where that's probably something that's just there. Like, I'm not racist, but I live in a society where that's something that's just like ingrained naturally, like that just happened. The fact that I didn't have to think about that is a privilege. So it's just a matter of like acknowledging that and then moving on. So it's like hoping to, you know, be deliberate, because like right now we want more stories of different cultures. We want more people on screen of different colors and backgrounds. But when you do that, you have to be deliberate about it. And yeah, I'm not even touching on the fact that in A Bad Batch, we have a double amputee, and the way that they kind of approach disability even isn't 100% cool for me as well. But I'm ignoring that one right now because I wanted to take the racism approach. Just to say, like, you know, we can win some things and you lose some things.
You win some
and you lose some. And I think she wins a lot. There is a lot of good stuff that's fun.
Yeah.
I do think she does sacrifice like substance for pretty a lot of the time. That it is just kind of like a fun time, and it's like cool to look at. But some of the words kind of were very like nail on the head, very blunt, and like, "Ooh, I'm trying too hard," like a art school student. But she does it in a masterful way, and I do really love that it's very much her. And like when you watch it, you can see her in it. And I think that's really unique in and of itself, because most people are trying to be something else. Or they're trying to fit a genre or a specific type instead of just making their own. And she did. And I hope that she continues to do so and she makes something else, not just, you know, directing episodes, but makes more things and is deliberate and is acknowledging her own life and her influences outside of just like that she likes certain artists, right? But being more deliberate when we tell these stories, right? Nothing about us without us, and properly representing those people. And also not like, let's not keep perpetuating these same like tropes, specifically the disposable black person, but literally any other trope that we have, right? Like we luckily got a final girl that's blonde. So that was nice. But, you know, I mean, you can't please them all. She tried to do one, and she did it. So,
well, it's like she's still doing stuff. And I thought it was really cool that she also wrote the things that she made, that like she was really a part. Like I feel like there are directors out there who don't also write the work that's happening. So I just thought that was really cool that it really was hers. But yeah, I guess it really much is, you know, if someone calls you out for something, you just gotta, you don't necessarily have to agree with them, but you have to acknowledge that it came from somewhere and like respect that. And own it. And people have a hard time with that. I feel like that's just like a societal thing.
Well, it's totally okay to be like, that was not my intention, but I see now how that could be portrayed. And I will now do better because I'm aware of it.
And just like,
that's really all, like, that's all it took.
Just try to be less problematic. There's so many problematic things in this world.
Just
like,
ask people.
She
doesn't
less
ask people
problematic thing.
She reminds me a lot of Anne Rice in that she doesn't ask. She waits till the end. She doesn't really get any input when she's like doing things, and like when she's ready she distributed all her own, which is like, you are a powerhouse, you're out here doing it, and I respect you for like putting that all on your shoulders. That's awesome. But it's also okay to have people that you care about like keeping you accountable and also like fact checking and double checking, right?
Yeah.
Like just ask somebody, right? Like make it be like, is this cool? Because like it's just worth it in the end, right? Because she's a, you know, rising star, and it would suck for her to, you know, fall from that because she didn't acknowledge that.
There were redeemable things, like not redeemable for that, but like she had redeemable things in her films that it would really suck that if she can't own her stuff that she doesn't. We need women directors. Come on.
Yeah. And she does
Get
a good
it
job.
together.
And I think I would watch more of her stuff.
Me too. I agree.
would. I think it would be fun every time.
Yeah.
Films. Yeah, films. Yeah, films. We watch some films. Now let's talk about those films. And all that spooky stuff. And all that spooky stuff.
So we watched two things. Well, we watched technically three things, but we're going to talk about two things.
Yes.
But one thing I thought was kind of cute is that the first film that Anna Lily ever made was when she was 12. She made a slumber party slasher.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it's pretty cute. And then her first short when she was like more grown was a psychological thriller involving camping. And she said it was pretty bad, but but it happened. And then she's always liked to like make psychologically trapped characters, which is definitely what we see here. And and like I said before, I really do like how she just like kind of has people.
Yeah.
And they do it, right?
Yeah, like flawed people out here doing stuff.
Yeah, just being like the good people are bad and the bad people are good.
Yeah.
And that was like pretty cool. Like you don't really get that in a way that's not like, look, we're doing a thing. You know?
A lot of films try to justify murder.
Yeah. This one was.
This is just
these
like
ones
people.
were like, okay.
People, man.
Yeah.
They're not great. But we're all one of them.
Yeah.
So here we are. And I was very real. I did very much like that about her films, and that like, oh, those are some people. Those are some regular humans.
And just like
out
in
here
weird
not
situations.
being fake, just doing it.
Yeah.
Just sucking and being parasites on this planet out here. But we're
Classic.
here, so what's up?
Yeah. Just dealing with the hands we were given.
We're
you know?
just here and yeah.
Sometimes they hold them, sometimes they fold them. So we watch A Girl Walks Home Alone at Night, which always trips me up. I always say it wrong. But it's a great... the title itself drew me in immediately.
Yeah.
Because it's like that... Because when you think of that, when you just hear the title and you close your eyes, you think, like, as a woman, you think about a girl walking home alone at night. It's like,
murder.
It's like,
Someone's murdering that girl.
Yeah, she's getting murdered. And it's scary, but then it's like, nah, son, guess what?
Girl's scary.
She's murdering. So this is from 2014, and it was directed and written by Anna Lily Amirpour. So in the Iranian ghost town Bad City, a place that reeks of death and loneliness, the townspeople are unaware they are being stalked by a lonesome vampire, which is the girl. She didn't get a name. So we have this girl who is a vampire who we don't even see till about like 40 minutes in.
Yeah, because a lot of other life is happening.
Yeah, we had to be established in this world and understand who the bad guys were, which is this guy who is he is the Spring Breakers of this town. Like, he's James Franco version of, like, what a drug dealer is.
I got drugs and a tattoo on my neck that says sex.
Yeah. What I thought, and he's got, like, the Persian writing on his head, which I still haven't figured out what it means. But so we start the story and we follow this drug dealer most of the time.
Yeah.
And then he interacts with this young man named Arash, whose father is a junkie. And then we also see this woman, I forget her name, who works for the drug dealer, but she's 30 now. and it's
He
she
didn't
wished
want
she had
kids.
babies, and now she can't have babies, or
Push her out
she's
of the
old.
car.
Yeah, so that's its
We're
own.
summarizing the
that's
film
its
for
own
you.
But one thing I noticed, and I was saying to Kat when we were watching, was I was like, man, this, like, everyone is lonely in this story. Like, everyone is just on their own island.
Yeah.
Everyone just operates by themselves, which is, it was very apparent to me when I was looking at this drug dealer who was very much alone. Like, he interacts with people.
Yeah.
But then he got home and he was just like,
He didn't have
there.
a crew.
He
He
doesn't have
mentioned
a
that
crew.
when we were watching. You're like,
And I was
"Where's
like,
his
that's
crew?"
so weird.
I was like, maybe nighttime? Oh, no, they're home.
But usually you're it just seems so bizarre to see him just by himself, kind of. Like, because he interacts with the girl and he brings her home. And
Yeah.
he never remarks about the fact that she's wearing a hijab. He never remarks about, like, that she's just a young girl out there.
Yeah.
And that was weird. And he didn't seem like a direct predator right away.
Yeah.
Which was also weird. But he was so alone. And I was like, that's so weird. Like, because he's very much a bad guy. There's no part
Yeah.
of him that was good. But I still was like, wow, this town, like, sucks.
Yeah.
Because he's so alone. It was
Oh,
like
yeah,
all the time.
everyone. Yeah, every single character is just kind of chilling.
Yeah. And so yeah.
Even that little boy.
Yeah.
No one
there's, like,
watches
a little
that kid.
boy. No one's watching him. So there's a lot of that.
It's
And then we see
nighttime.
her and she, like, she's always just stalking people, being real creepy. And she ends up kind of finding this tenderness in her heart for Arash, who had
Yeah.
the father who was a junkie. Because
He's dressed as Dracula.
he's dressed as Dracula. It's funny.
He's high as a kite.
He took LSD,
Yeah.
and which she likes to use because it blurs reality. And he is just, like, totally out of his mind. And he's just like, but he's a soft boy
Yeah.
in this. And so she kind of sees that and is immediately like, come to my house, hang out with me.
Yeah.
And
I
there's
need
like
to take care of you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's a tenderness there that I really, really enjoyed. It was so, like, sweet and, like, childish.
Uh-huh.
Like, it was like this
It was very
childlike
puppy.
friendship.
Uh-huh.
Like, but they were adults. So, like, there's also, like, a sexual tension there, but it wasn't, like, gross.
Overt. Yeah, it wasn't
was
like,
just like,
ooh.
of course, like, at some point they're gonna kiss and it's gonna be really cute. Like,
Yeah.
it was such a strange thing. But all the characters there was emotions for. Yeah.
Yeah, my favorite scene is when she puts her her hand on his, like, head to push his hair back, such his head up.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, don't bite him.
Oh, yeah.
Don't bite that baby. And then she just puts her head on his chest. And it's really cute. And sweet.
Yeah. You think she's gonna attack him, and
That's
then
my
it's
favorite
like,
part of the whole
Yeah.
film. I was just like, shut up. You're cute.
Yeah. And she is very vulnerable, even though she's an anti-hero in her own right. Like, she's very, like, she wants that woman who's now 30 and washed up to do what she always wanted to do. Like, she wants her to go try. And when she doesn't, it's like she's clearly affected by that.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I feel like the characters are good. The one girl was kind of like a throwaway girl, like, rich one.
Yeah, she was just in there.
But it's all black and white. It's a 100% spaghetti Western.
Yeah.
There's a cat in it. It's cute.
Yeah. It was my cat plus Gabe's cat put together.
Yeah, it definitely looked like both of our cats had a baby. And now it's that. It was weird.
Super
but it was
cute.
We watched another thing.
We did. We watched The Bad Batch from 2016, also directed and written by Anna Lily. And it is a desert dystopia. In a desert dystopia, a young woman is kidnapped by cannibals, which is not the whole story.
No, that's the start of the story.
She is labeled as the Bad Batch and thrown into this desert that has cannibals before you get to, like, the designated non-cannibal space.
Mm-hmm.
So...
What do they call it?
Comfort.
Comfort. And which was cute. It was a cute play on words because it was like, you got to go find comfort.
Yeah.
Or I'm seeking comfort. Or I live in comfort. And it was like, I get it. We're all just saying. Coasting in our lives. We get it. Yeah, it's like
doing
all the
so much more.
it's cute. It was cute.
Be eating people. I don't know.
So it's like all the undesirables are thrown into the desert. It's
Yeah.
like what people did with Australia. They're like, take all the bad guys and put them in there. There's snakes. So did
That's
that, but
not
what?
good though.
No, it's not. But that's what they do in this dystopian world. And I guess they don't know a lot about this because she was just leisurely strolling, and then cannibals showed up and immediately like hack her
Oh,
up.
it got real quick.
Yeah, they just took her her arm and her leg.
On the same side.
Yeah, that was kind of rude.
Where it's like, oh, at least do opposites, but I guess they plan to eat all of her eventually.
Yeah.
So
Well, it's better than the guy who had both his legs.
Yeah.
Because then she's able to get away because she could
Yeah.
figure it out. But yeah, they keep him alive because they're going to try to keep him. But she ends up escaping. She fights back. And she goes and lives in comfort. And then she's out again
Yeah.
and encounters a young girl and her mom who she knows and recognizes from the cannibal camp.
Yeah, like she recognizes their golf cart because that's how they
Yeah.
travel.
Yeah. So she, spoilers time, kills her. That's the first black character we get who dies.
Yep.
I don't know if she had to, but she did. I guess for plot. And then our Arlen, that's her name.
Arlen is her name.
Arlen, she takes the
honey.
young girl. Mm-hmm. And it brings her comfort. Keanu Reeves is there.
Yeah.
Jim Carrey's a hermit.
And she's doing a bad job being a parent. She takes drugs like right away and tells that kid she doesn't matter.
She gave her a bunny first.
Yeah, she did give her a bunny.
Which is something, I guess. Yeah, she's not good, but she's also like, she's very young herself. She immediately loses that kid. And then there's like a cult aspect that was strange. So what I got from this, and I don't know if she thought of this because she has other things that she listed as like her inspiration, but when I was watching it, especially the part where they're talking about the dream, life is the dream and you gotta go get the dream, and Keanu was like, let me be more obvious about what the themes of this film are, and I was like, okay,
Life is the dream.
I was like, yeah, okay, you gotta get up and get it. I was like, all right. It felt to me like Risk Cutters, A Love Story, which is one of my favorite indie films, which is about like people when they commit suicide end up in a worse world. Like it's just like this one, but it just sucks real hard. Yeah. So it's just like everything, like your computer would take like infinitely longer to start up. And so it's all these little things that would aggravate you. Yeah. And like you can't smile. Yeah. And there's a part where they get to this like very culty area and everyone's in white and they think that if they die again, then they'll like get to go to a better place. And it's like this whole thing. And because they want to get to the people in charge and all this stuff. And that scene reminded me just of the same scene with Keanu where except like they didn't have drugs in Risk Cutters. But I was like, this has the same feel. We're also in the desert. We also have these people who are like, you know, flawed, but like are trying. Yeah. You go. Because I can go all day.
Yeah. And it definitely. So I got this from another article, but they described it as classic films like The Hills Have Eyes and Texas Chainsaw Massacre make the cannibal into the figure of underclass or working class terror is like what usually happens. Yeah. Against suburban middle class protagonists. Mm-hmm. This, like Amirpour's film, instead presents a critique of the systems that pit economically and socially marginalized people against one another in a man-eat-man society. Mm-hmm. So it's like, you thought...
Yeah.
It was bad. The real world's bad. Man eat man.
Yeah.
Everyone's bad here.
Well, yeah, she literally wanted to have these two people where, like, you've all been labeled this. We've all been labeled outsiders.
And if we all just work together, we could be tall enough to climb over that fence and then murder all the other people.
Yeah. Like, Keanu goes on and he's like, we weren't strong enough. We weren't smart enough. We were all kinds of stuff. And, you know, and in that he tries to, like... I guess unite people in his weird culty way. Yeah. But yeah, she definitely was just like, we have these two people who are very much the we're all equals here. We're all the Bad Batch.
Yeah.
And
no one's
some of you are
entirely good or
eating the other
bad.
ones, literally.
Yeah.
I feel like the cannibal thing really takes a backseat to everything else.
Well, yeah, because they're making, like, so Jason Momoa's character is very much like, he eats people, yeah.
Yeah, but you can totally forget. I really was upset that Anna Lily made me attracted to a cannibal.
Yeah, right?
I was super angry.
Yeah.
I was like, how dare you make this man who previously just like killed somebody because they were crying because they didn't want to get eaten, and now he's like sad because his kid is gone, and he's being
You're
real
rooting
nice
for him.
and he speaks in this weird future speak, and he was just an immigrant, and he just means well, and his wife was murdered, and he doesn't really get anything,
And all he cares about in this world is that little girl.
and he draws all those pictures of her, and he's also really hot, and it's just like you can't, it was like you can't do that. Like, you can't make a person has that many things happening on him.
Well, because the whole thing is that no one is entirely good or no one is entirely bad. And that's the whole theme. Mm-hmm. And that's what life is. Like, people aren't perfect. We are flawed individuals, every single one of us.
Yeah.
I mostly do good stuff, but I've messed stuff up before. I've done bad things. Doesn't mean I'm a bad person.
You never eated anybody, though.
I did not eat anybody, but what I'm saying is that there's objective, like, no one is pure.
Yeah.
Not a single person except for the baby who has been alive a whole 1 second.
Yeah.
Because they haven't done anything yet.
Even that little girl, she was pretty good. She was a little brat, but she was like...
She was a brat.
She was a
I
brat.
want spaghetti because that man gave me spaghetti. And then, spoilers, they kill her rabbit.
It's the
And make
worst
her eat
spoilers
it,
ever.
and she's crying, and it's awful. But it's like, you didn't cry when your dad made you eat all those people?
She didn't know better.
They're crying.
She didn't know that was bad.
They're crying in the camp. They're like, don't kill me.
She doesn't hear that. They kept her from that.
You don't know. All I'm saying is, you taught empathy to love the bunny, and you ate that. So it's just like, I guess that's what it's like to eat people. That's what I got from that moment.
Yeah, I think
what
I thought was really interesting is our main character, Arlen, has this very honest and confusing reaction to him. Because he is protecting her, and he does seem to have like a lot of heart, but then also he's part of the place that took her parts and ate it.
Yeah.
So it's like she really has like, and it's all on her face. I wasn't expecting that from that actress.
Yeah.
But she really was just like, there's like a tension, there's like fear, there's like sexual tension. There's also just like anger.
Yeah.
There's like regret. There's like so much that's happening in that because you can't you can't feel one thing for what the situation is holding. So that was really kind of refreshing. I do kind of wish that we had an actress that did have that condition, or at least a little bit, and not just like a hot model that we green screened and CGI'd out her limbs.
Yeah.
But, you know,
I mean, she did a good job.
She tried other stuff.
The disabilities, like,
Stuff,
whole thing. She wasn't super respectful of the reality that is that.
Yeah. What were you gonna do?
I guess, like, you do gotta sell the fact people are eating each other.
Yeah. And I mean, I will say,
it's not
Arlen,
like it was done. It was a part of the plot.
Yeah.
So it wasn't done for nothing.
Yeah. And Arlen, like, it does, like, hold her back for with a few things, like, reasonably. But most of the time, she is really holding her own. She's not afraid. She doesn't let her stop anything. She still does it.
Oh, yeah. She was a survivor through and through.
Yeah. She hid a gun in her
shoe.
Her
fake leg shoe.
Yeah. So, yeah, that was cool. Yeah. So, if you got 2 hours to sit down, watch a Bad Batch. And definitely watch Girl Walks Home Alone at Night.
Yeah, that one was really good.
Get some popcorn.
Films. We watch some films. Now let's talk about those films. And all that spooky stuff.
Okay, so if you like it, it's our sweet baby Dracula
sweet
Arash, because he's our prince. He's so sweet. He meant so
Dracula
well.
prince.
He loved her in the end, even though she did bad.
Yeah.
She was like, I do bad things. He was like, do you? And then he was like, wow, you really do.
Yeah.
All right, let's go. Let's
Why
go.
you have my dad's cat?
Why do you have all of this jewelry that you didn't buy? And it looks very clearly like you got off of dead bodies. Let's get in my car.
Get in my car. Let's go someplace.
Get in my car I can have now because you murdered people.
Thanks for that.
Yeah.
I missed my car.
So if you like it, it's that love story because it was sweet.
Sweet.
It was like sad but it was
Dracula.
sweet. Right? So for Lily Amirpour, Anna Lily Amirpour.
What was the bad one?
The bad one is Miami Man Momoa because it was rude to make us like him.
And then also he wasn't Hispanic.
He wasn't a Miami Man. He wasn't Cubano.
I mean, he's hot,
Yes.
but
Why you go do that to me? Like, I'm all here for having, him shirtless in a desert. I'm here for it.
yeah,
I really
the whole
am.
time.
I'm not here for him putting on some accents, pretend to be a different race.
Yeah.
It's not fun.
Okay.
So for how we feel about Anna Lily.
I'm real middle ground
Yeah.
for all the topics in play.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I didn't hate it,
So I guess it's
but also
Hermit Jim Carrey.
Hermit Jim Carrey.
Yeah.
That's middle space.
Or the guy who was like, you gotta know the three things.
You gotta know the three.
Do you want to check out my puzzle?
No, it was like, you gotta know the thing. The thing is the thing. The thing is the thing. The thing is the reason. The thing is what. You
It's
need
just
that
like,
thing.
what
Don't
is it?
forget it. Don't forget that thing. And he's like, that's for you to find out,
You need to
man.
know what the thing is. Yeah, he
Don't
could be
forget
that
the
guy.
thing. I can't forget it.
That was another thing I was like triggered about, but it's another time. But yeah, yeah, it's Hermit Jim Carrey. I agree because I like I said, I would watch something. She made it. I enjoyed watching these. Like,
Yeah. No, I enjoyed them for sure. It was just, I always get like really bummed out when people are problematic and don't.
Yeah.
Because it's like, you don't gotta stay problematic. It's like, you can fix it.
yeah,
You know how you fix it?
you
Own the
it.
fact you were.
Yeah,
That's the whole battle.
yeah,
If I say something upsetting, I want someone to tell me immediately so I can fix it.
yeah. Yes.
None of us are perfect. All your characters are about how people suck. There's no good person, bad person.
Yeah,
We're just people. So you gotta live that stuff.
yeah.
I almost cursed.
So fashioned.
You gotta though. Like that bums me out.
Yeah. Well, it's just like, admit like, oh yeah, I am, a result of the society I live in. You grew up in California. Okay.
Yeah.
It's not perfect. So it's just like, you just say, I grew up in this. Clearly I've been affected by that. Let me fix it. Let me do better next time. Give me another
Yes.
chance.
We all can be better. Every single person. You think you're the best thing in the world, you're not.
Mm-hmm.
You can be better.
Yeah. Especially if you're
Just
going to be out here
saying.
making stories. And they're good, There are things about it that are really, really cool. And I hope that it inspires others to
I'm
do
not mad.
more.
I'm just disappointed.
Yeah. Same. Yeah. I also
You know
was
what
just
I
like, man, we picked her. We're going to talk about her. And then it was like, oh, I have to go on this whole tangent now to teach people
Yeah.
about why it's wrong.
But like, she got a lot of good stuff going on. You just gotta own your stuff. That's all I'm saying. It's just like, it's not that hard.
Yeah.
Guys.
But what I do think is interesting about this is that it is a different type of, it's a very distinct and unique horror.
Oh yeah, her films, I give them the positive rating.
Yeah. Which is like cool, right? Because we did Guillermo and it was so distinct. Like, a Guillermo film. The parts of him that are great, right?
Yeah.
And we got the same things with hers. Like, we know.
It's
Like, we
very
know we're going to hear her
distinct. It's
music.
very
We know
much
there's
her.
going to be just like specific cinematography and stylized.
Yep.
It's going to be like across several genres. We're going to feel sad and mad and upset and happy about each one of these characters in some way. And then we're
Yeah.
going to feel really lonely all the time. But
Yeah.
like, that's okay.
His pace.
Yeah. And I think that's really cool. And for that, I think it takes a lot for someone who's we just have these two films to kind of look at, and she already kind of has a style, and they're both different, but we still see her style in them.
Oh yeah, for
and
sure.
And that's cool. So for that, I say, good job.
Yeah.
And just, you get another shot, you can do another one.
Everyone
Call me up. I'll help.
Do it. Everyone could get better.
Call me up. I'll help. Yeah. And I had been recommended a different Iranian horror film. So maybe it's potential that in a future foreign horror, we can even just tackle Iran.
You said we'd run out of things to talk about. World, get at us.
Yeah, we're coming at the end of the year, so we're already starting to plan next year.
Oh.
So if there's something you want to hear about, email us at theghoulsnextdoor@gmail.com to give us some suggestions. Even if you're just like, I love this film. Have you talked about it? Do you want to talk about it? Shoot it over to us. We will figure it out. We'll make it a point.
You want to tell me I'm offensive in some way? I will own that stuff. Let's go.
Yeah, absolutely.
Ghouls out here.
Yeah.
Not being problematic. What's up?
We try. And if we are, just let us know. We fix it.
I'm trying to fix myself.
Yeah, but don't get married.
They'll eat your kids in a cannibalistic society.
Or you feed your kids that guy. Yeah. So my kids eat you.
Oh.